everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Chill Adventures. The sun came out today, so I figured with the idea from my good friend Joseph, and with the fact that the sun is out for the first time in a few days, I figured we could do an episode about the dogs. Less about the dogs and more about living in a van with the dogs. As you can see, Bear is large. He is a Great Pyrenees. He's about 130 pounds, a little bit less than me, and he has a double coat, a very thick hair. Arlo, on the other hand, is a beagle. She is fat. Now, there's a lot of questions that I am sure that you guys have, from food and water to hair, pooping, and just the overall stealthiness of having dogs and living in a van. You know, I don't have any kind of a battery setup, so it's either I have a couple batteries, but I don't have an actual, like, a battery setup where I can charge and do all the things. So we're at a random park, by the way. Okay, so this is what we kind of have as like the front entrance area. I'll get my shadow out of the way. I have to help Bear up into the van, but then this is his bed. We made our bed widthways so he could lay all of the ways. Come here, Bear. Hey, stay over here. So basically, our bed goes this way instead of this way, because if Bear only had the width of like an aisle to walk around, if we had put our bed lengthways along the side, he wouldn't have had enough room to like turn around and lay sideways and lengthways. So yeah, like, this is basically how we roll. Arlo's on the bed most of the time. Most of the time, Arlo's on the bed. So I'll touch on the hair issue, because I know that's probably what a lot of people think about first, especially when they see Bear. What are you doing? Especially when they see him. And I'll be perfectly honest, when we lived in an apartment, there was hair everywhere. There was always hair. There's never not been an issue with hair. So like in the apartment, we wouldn't even vacuum his hair up. What I would do is I would put on a pair of Vans with a nice clean sole, and I would like moonwalk along the carpet, and it would just pick up the hair. So yeah, the hair has been an issue always, and anyone who owns a Great Pyrenees like Bear will know. Like, they will know. Is that a good thumbnail? Oh, that's a good thumbnail. Losi, let me see the lows. Let me see the lows. Come on, watch out. Alright, anyways. So yeah, anyone who's ever owned a Great Pyrenees can attest that hair is always an issue. And it's not just on the furniture and stuff, like, it's everywhere. No matter what, whether you're in a house or an apartment or a van like us, hair with a Great Pyrenees will be a thing. Bear's fur, I cut his hair. I cut his hair for more than one reason, but mainly because when he was a puppy, he just kind of, well, not a puppy, like maybe 2, he he stopped wanting to go to the groomer. I don't know why he didn't like it, but yeah, so I stopped making him do it, but that made it necessary for me to cut his hair. So when you see other Great Pyrenees, especially ones that get professionally groomed, their hair is going to be like longer and like flowier, and it might not look as coarse, but it works for us. And also, like, even though this might, I have to brush him more because having shorter hair but having it so thick will lead to mats. You know, in the summertime, because we're outside so much, we just cut his hair shorter. And he does better when we're at the beach and when he's in the van. You have to be careful though, because their skin is pink. And if you cut their hair too short, their skin will burn. Also, if you don't dry them off in the summertime, because this time of year it's not a big deal, but if you don't dry them off good enough, they will get hot spots. And he got one when he was a puppy, and ever since then he hasn't really been big into going in the water. So yeah, that's that, at least with Bear. Come on, let's go get Losi. Bear, this way, let's go. Come on. Arlo, on the other hand, is a beagle, and she has really fine coarse hair. And it also gets everywhere. She sheds a lot too, and it gets everywhere. But again, you know, it's like a drop in the bucket at this point. So yeah, with dealing with Bear and Arlo, come on. In all honesty, there's, between all of Bear's hair, the addition to Arlo's hair, it's really a drop in the bucket. You know, Arlo's hair is on the bed more, but Bear's hair is everywhere, and it's always everywhere. So it's like, stop, wait. So it's yeah, it is what it is. It's dog hair all the time, always. But it's not that bad because we had to deal with this at the apartment. So it's not like this hair is like crazy out of control, something that we've never dealt with. But the amount, it doesn't really... She doesn't really add to the amount of sand or of snow, hair in the van. She doesn't add to the amount of hair in the van. At least doesn't really seem that way. Go get in your bed, over here. Keep going. Man. So yeah, if you saw, as I was getting him back in, he's covered in snow. They both... I actually, to be perfectly honest with you, the snow is more of an issue to me than the hair, because my socks are always wet. And not just sometimes, because we have carpet. There's a little bit of carpet between Bear's bed and the hardwood floor. I hadn't even planned on giving Bear a bed, like a dedicated bed, just because when we lived in like houses and apartments, he always slept in really weird spots. If anybody has a Great Pyrenees, they know that they will sleep in weird like cubbies and weird angles, and they'll sleep on hard floors and soft floors. So I figured with the fact that I have not only insulation but padding and carpet, plus like a hardwood floor area for him to lay on, I thought it would be good. However, Michigan in the winter, the floors on your van, they're freezing cold. And a couple nights when it got below 20, it was just too cold. I could feel it. So, and then he got on the bed a few times. So you know that it's cold because I know he's not uncomfortable. Maybe it's a mix of like the cold and the hard floor, but he wouldn't do that very often. But since we got him his own bed, you can tell he's higher up off the floor. It's obviously nice and padded. Yeah, and that's how he rolls. But yeah, the amount of like water, snow, ice on the ground, it gets to be a lot at a point. And my socks are always wet. If I don't get Arlo in her bed, she gets our blankets wet. And then Bear's always covered in snow because he rolls in it, like I've showed you guys before. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Just the little things that we have to do. Now, there was at no point in our van life journey did I ever think about not having the dogs. So every portion of our van life preparation had them in mind. But yeah, we don't have a high roof. We don't have I guess I have the 3500, so it's longer, but it's basically like we have 3 human beings in the van all at the same time. And that is a challenge. Plus, one of the human beings has no manners. He'll puke and fart well, I guess I'll fart. But yeah, like it's a dog that's basically the same size as me. And yeah. Luckily him and Laura are great friends. So whenever Laura is around, Bear chills out. He's a lot less anxious, I would say. But yeah, we are going to head back to one of our spots to park, I think. It is a beautiful day, but we can talk about the fact that I never have him on a leash and how I deal with that. And then, yeah, and I know this video is probably going to get a little bit of pushback because depending on where I'm at, they don't have a leash on. But yeah, we'll see you in a second. Side note, I don't think I've ever showed you guys how I actually get power. This is the side of a hotel. That is an outlet on the side of a hotel. And this is the extension cord that I have running to a power strip inside the van. That is how we get power. All right, back in the van, obviously, and let's talk food and water. the rationing of water is, I mean, it's something I've never even had to think about. And that was the first thing that, and not just for the dogs, like for me too, that was one of the first things that I realized, because you can go through 5 gallons of water very, very quickly if you aren't being careful. And it's not even about being careful, it's just about being mindful, you know? Like, and I guess it's a little bit more magnified because I have 2 dogs and one is big. And I thought when we got into this, like, one, I didn't think about the rationing of water. So when it became an issue, it was a fun thing to deal with. It was never an issue like we were really like thirsty, obviously, but when you run out of water and then you're like, oh fuck, I ran out of water. That's a mind blower. Anyways, in the summer, I thought Bear would drink more water, and that's not true. He just drinks a lot of water all the time. And then Arlo doesn't drink as much water, but she definitely, you know, goes through it pretty good. She drinks more in the summertime for sure. So the water issue is something that I am always on top of because I need it for life. And coffee. The dogs need it for life. The good part about it is I like carbonated water like AHA and LaCroix and Polar, and that helps because, and I wish I would have been drinking carbonated water years ago because I don't even really, and I guess I just realized this, but I don't really like pop. What I am addicted to is the bubbles. You know what I'm saying? So this shit, it tastes good. No sugar, no bullshit. It's literally just, it's water. It's just carbonated. With some flavor. And it's great. I've had migraines my whole life. Like, I don't know how bad other people's migraines are, but if there are people with worse migraines than me, I would be shocked. I don't want to say I get the worst migraines ever, because there's no way for me to know that, but I do know how bad mine are. And if there are people, there's got to be people that get them worse, but I would like to see that. I don't want to feel it, but I would like to talk to them at least. Anyways, the sparkling water, where I was going with that whole spiel, the sparkling water has helped a ton with my headaches. And I think it's just purely getting more water in me, because I would never drink enough water anyways, especially playing hockey. Man, I would drink so much Red Bull, but that's why I'm on the coffee now. I could literally drink coffee right before I go to bed and yeah, fall asleep. Anyways, back to where I was going with that. The water situation with the dogs, it's helped by the fact that I drink so much sparkling water. And it has taught me to ration water, just be more thoughtful of the water situation. And I think once we get the shower going in here, that will even be better, especially if we ever, for some reason, which I'm not planning to, move back into like a normal house. Yeah, it'll just be more mindful of the water. Food, on the other hand, is a different story. Bear isn't picky, per se, because when he's hungry, he'll eat anything, legitimately. But Arlo is very, very picky. Now, Bear sometimes won't eat a food, but when he gets hungry, he'll eat the food. Arlo will just wait and not eat and not eat. So, when buying food, because they eat the same thing, obviously, Beagle, Great Pyrenees, how does that happen? He's old, so his stomach is more in tune to being able to digest things that are
not necessarily senior large breed dogs. Also, if anybody has any shit to say about that, he's 11 years old and he's lived in like 3 different apartments and 2 different houses all over. He's a miracle of great Pyrenees, and um, we've been doing this the whole time, so he's good. Don't worry. But Arlo, like I said, we really need to. There's only about 4 foods that we've found so far that she will eat all the time, and I don't like her going a full day without eating. And sometimes she will. She was eating twice a day with him, not the same amount, obviously, but now she pretty much only eats once a day, maybe a little more than she should, but she's been fat the whole time, so I don't care. when we got her from the person who was a piece of shit and was going to take her to the pound, she was still a little chubby then, so it's all good. But yeah, so Bear will eat what she eats. What we do is I get the tiny bits, the tiny kibble bits, or there's like this Purina food that is a mix between like hard and soft food. I don't like to give him like wet dog food because it makes his stomach a little runny, and when Bear gets runny poop, it gets stuck on the hair by his butt, and then I have to actually wipe his butt. So we don't like wet food all the time. Sometimes if I know we're going to be outside a lot that day, or if I can give it to him in the morning, I'll give him some wet food in the morning, but very rarely at night does Bear get any kind of wet food. Very rarely do I even buy wet dog food. But there is this like mix. It's this specific brand. It's like hard and soft. So they both like that, which is pretty good because I can buy the regular food and then I can buy the little box, and I can just like add some into the food to spice it up a little bit. Yeah, the food in the water was a thing at first, especially getting them on a schedule. But like I said, with these 2 dogs, I am on them all the time about everything. Mainly because we live in a van and I rarely have them on a leash. I am lucky that they are both super smart. And again, it's consistently making them do things, so they always are listening and they are always like ready to go. In the very beginning, stopping at all of these places, they would want to get out at every spot. So that was a thing in the beginning that I had to battle with, and I still do fight it a little bit, but now they're better. Now they don't bark all the time when they're in here. When I go to like take a shower at Planet Fitness, or even when I go surfing, if I get them out, if they have food and water, if the van is either, it's never too cold for them, but if it's too warm, I need to make sure that the fans are going and the windows are yada yada, and so they don't bark. So it has been a decent amount of training, and a decent amount of frustration. But again, like I said a little bit earlier, we never once thought about not bringing them. And this is the only van that we had. I bought it from my buddy Clayton, and this has been it. So I have moved things around to make it easier for Bear. I feel like if, obviously, like the plastic drawers, they aren't how we're gonna leave it. But when we do get like an actual dresser, or we find ways to, if we ever get to IKEA, we're probably going to end up having like things up here. We're going to put them up here, basically. And I might actually do that with some of these, because it seems like maybe right behind the camera would be a good spot for some, or even if I move all of these shelves down a little bit. But yeah, like the biggest thing with Bear was letting him kind of feel it out for himself. Like I had to let him out a ton in the beginning. for him to get in and out and in and out. Because at first he didn't want to get in and out. He wouldn't get in. I had to make him get in. But yeah, now that they know where they're, that we're on the move, and it's not just a car ride. I still use the car ride thing for, like, when we're gonna actually leave, so they know that we're gonna leave wherever we are. But it's not the car ride like it used to be. They don't go crazy anymore like when I used to say it. Because everything is that now, which is good. Like with these places, this is the spot that we stay at the most because the employees have seen me here. They've seen the dogs. They've seen me plugged in. I don't think that they care, as long as, like, I don't leave any garbage, obviously. Not loud. Not doing anything crazy. So I guess they don't care. So this is where we are. So, like, they have all that. It's probably like 100 yards of grass, and it goes a little bit over there. It's great because there's no other dogs over here, so that's like all of their own smells. And when it snows a lot, like, no one walks or drives over there, so it's like all fluffy, powderful snow that they can play in and run in, and that's cool. There's been a couple times where other dogs have been near the door, and he doesn't like that. Also, there are times if we're at, like, Bear's fine with dogs smelling Arlo, and like, if sometimes she'll growl at dogs because she's still kind of scared, and there he's fine with that. But outside of a dog place, and if he's on his leash and Arlo's and everybody's on the leash, then he's fine. But if it's a dog that looks even remotely like it's gonna be mean to Arlo, I have to hold him because he will go and try to get the dog, and that's something that I have to always be careful of. Again, I don't have them on a leash 90% of the time. The beach too. If we're at the beach, he's chill because he knows the beach people. We've been at the beach so many different times at this point where there have been dogs, kids, old ladies, people yelling, loud noises, all of it. So the beach is another safe zone. But I have to be careful at other spots. Pretty much anywhere that I don't know that I've been there and I don't know how it's gonna roll, I'll put their leash on. But I have to be very careful of what I do, when I do it, why I do it. But it's also a great deterrent for shit. Not everybody likes dogs. Not everybody knows that 99.9% of dogs, if you walk up to them, even if they growl or show their teeth or something, they're not going to bite you. And even a bigger percent of those dogs aren't even going to do that. They aren't going to growl. You just have to know how to approach a dog. But some people don't. Some people are afraid of dogs. He looks like a fucking bear. And not only, it's either people will come up to us if they love dogs, or if they know that he's a Pyrenees, or if they love beagles too, I guess. Mostly it's people that come up for him, or they stay the fuck away. They don't come near us. They will walk across the street, especially if he's not on his leash. Now, most of the time, if I see somebody that looks scared, I'll tell him that he's friendly, and then when he sees me talking to these people, he'll walk up to them and he'll be fine. And he's never been aggressive towards anything outwardly first. It's always been something that's happened. She got bit once, and he went after a dog. A dog tried to jump in the van once, and he went crazy. But he's never got anyone. He's never got any other dog. But it's something I always have to be careful of because he's fucking massive. And he would hurt something. Even though he would hurt a person. So yeah, it's a fine line that I ride here. And it's half to keep people away from the van, especially in spots that I sleep. And then it's also like, I feel like people that know, either some people that know about the van life, people that know about the surfing life, people that know about dogs, people that know about just good people, they can see that I have 2 dogs. And most psychopathic serial killers aren't gonna have 2 dogs. You know, they're gonna live in a van by themselves in the woods. You know, they're not gonna be at a spot like this. So I think most people know that, and most people see the dogs, and if they don't like that I have them off the leash, and I have been Karen'd and Kyled numerous times. No, what do they call the man Karen? A Todd? Anyways, I've been Karen'd, Todded, Kyled, all of that shit. And at this point, all this shit, I tell people to suck my butt. Call the cops. When we were at Barrelton, 3 separate times people called the cops on me just because I had them. It says no dogs on the beach, and they weren't on the beach. They were in the sand, but they weren't down by the water amongst the people. We were up away from everybody. Nobody was even around us. This is all 3 times, same spot at Barrelton. Not to mention the rich guy that lives in the house right across the street from Barrelton with the copper roof. He called me the N-word. You know? That's how dumb these people are. Anyways, 3 times cops called. 2 out of the 3 times the cop goes, "Listen, we don't care, but if we get called down here, you're gonna have to put him back in the car, turn the air on, whatever." Which I did every time. I didn't fuck with the cops. The cops are just doing their job. It's the Karens and Todds of the world that I like to tell to suck my butt. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I ride a fine line between the poop, the no dogs here, the leash, and then having well-behaved, fun-looking dogs that are awesome, But yeah, he's great for protection, great for keeping people away. Honestly, the protection thing, I don't know how crazy he would go if people actually came in here. I think if Laura was in here, or if Laura's kids were in here, I think that it would be a different idea for him. But I also think that he thinks that I'm the guy. I do everything. So if people come in here, I think he might think it's my job to take care of those bad people. I hope not. You never know. I hope I never have to find out, that's for sure. But if I do, I got the knife that Stoke machine gave me for Christmas, and I'll cut a bitch. Worst case Ontario. Alright, so what have we got so far? We got the we did how they get in and sleep, the hair, food and water, protection, the fact that ice is always everywhere. I don't know what it would be like without them. Especially, I don't know what it would be like being in the van and then bringing a dog in, because I feel like if we all hadn't dealt with all of the puke and the poop and the snow and the dirt and the everything together in the beginning, it might be hard to revamp how you've started. But now that we've done it, especially with 2, it's easy. And this spring, not too long from now, we are going to shave him. I say shave him because we're going to take off the first couple inches of the first coat. And he's got some mats on his tail, and I gotta cut the hair on his feet. So that's gonna be a thing that's gonna cut down on the hair. Probably her too. She has a lot of hair. Honestly, all of this black, if you get down, it's brown. I don't know if you can even see that. Still needs better lights over here. All of that black hair that Lucy has on the top is brown underneath. So when we shave her, I only got her good once because we don't have a good guard for the powerful trimmer that we have. And the blade gets really, really hot, so we can't cut her hair short because it touches her skin and it burns her. But Bear's hair is so long it never even gets close to his skin, so we can use the heavy-duty one and just go for it. Laura normally brushes him to get all of the knots out and to pull out some of the clumps of hair that he's got. And then I'll just go over it and over it and over it. We got 4 like grocery store sized bags full of hair the last time we did it in the fall. I think I did a picture. It was like the 3rd or 4th day of van life. I know I put it on a video. Between the 1st and the 4th day of van life, we cut his hair real good and he looked really good. But we'll do it twice a year, maybe sometimes 3 times a year, depending if he gets a lot of hair in his butt for some reason. But yeah, it's all good. And don't forget that, you know, half of the time during the week, Laura is here. Like, when she doesn't have her kids, she's here. She wants to be here. And that's crazy, right? She has a place to go with a real toilet, but she will stay with me and pee in a jug. I don't know if that makes her crazy or what, but we are out here. You can see how he's like right here. That's one way he lays. He also can lay with his face towards me, and then he can lay sideways. You can lay this way, and this way. And this is something that we thought of, because the big thing right here takes up a shit ton of room. This big wooden box. But that's what we're going to use for our shower. And after the winter time, taking showers at Planet Fitness, I mean, I guess we don't need it, but for 2 reasons. Just the other day, Laura had a bad headache and she wanted to take a shower, and if we had a hot shower in here, even though the condensation is fucking brutal, it would be terrible in the winter. I would rather be able, because when I get bad migraines too, sometimes the only thing that helps me is just like having hot water pour on me. Yes, it would be a ton of condensation. Yes, the windows would probably get full of ice on the inside, and it would be a ton of waste of water, but it's a luxury. Like, you know, it's a luxury to have, for a multitude of reasons. And in the summer, we might not even use it as much because they open up the outdoor showers again at Wind's Nest, at Wannasie Mahihi, at Jabroni, at Barrelton. So those are all free. Like, obviously I have to wear swim trunks because I can't go out shower naked in public, but they're free showers that, you know, I could use one of the outdoor ones and Laura could use the one in here. So I really think that this needs to stay. As far as like how much it costs, you know, gallons of water are $1 a piece. And their food runs anywhere between, I don't know, between $1 a pound and $3 a pound. And we probably go through, I'd say, 10 gallons of water a week and possibly 20 pounds of food a week. Maybe a little more, maybe definitely not more. Between 10 gallons and 20 pounds of food for the dogs alone per week. Yeah, so that's probably between $15 and $30 a week just for the dogs to eat and drink. And we're not only out here for ourselves, we're out here for you guys too. So like I said, join the squad, ask questions if you need to. We got lake surfing vids. Our last lake surfing vid that you saw was the last surf before the lake froze at Dutch Shoe. Awesome offshore day. But yeah, I guess that's it. Hope you guys have a good day. Woo!